What is up? I'm Dr. Socks,
And I'm Dr. Jones.
and
And
welcome
welcome
to
to.
another episode of. Sorry.
I think that was my fault. I don't even know.
Now, I don't know. Let me
I
think.
don't know. You know what?
No,
Let's roll with it. Let's roll with it. Roll
okay.
with it. We're not cutting this
Okay,
again. We've already done this twice. Here we go. Welcome to Quarantine Stacks Podcast, episode 7.
okay. I'm Dr. Socks for the second time.
And I'm Dr. Jones for the second time. But hey, welcome. Good to have you.
Good to be here.
Absolutely.
Cannot get it
The,
together.
the important part is that we are doing it and we're going to keep it going, man.
Yes, yes,
Man,
yes,
so
yes.
why do people come and drop by, bro?
I don't know. There have been a lot of things happening in the world, so it is our job to make sure that we say something, right? I
Yep.
mean, we always talk about this. We have these pre-show conversations, and I swear every pre-show conversation should be an episode.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So hey, you actually get a bit of the pre-show conversation. So thanks for coming for that snacks. We guarantee you'll leave with some soul food, brother.
There
So
you go. Heck
how
yeah.
have you been this week? Oh, we got it going
Man.
now, buddy. How we go?
I'm
We in
doing
there.
good,
We in
man.
there.
I'm looking at your jersey like, is this joint on backwards, dog? You look like Nelly. Is that
Oh
a backwards
no, it's
jersey?
not. It's not. It's the front. It's just
Okay, I
back
just wasn't
then.
sure.
Back then they man, shut up.
I like it. I
Yeah.
like it. No, no, no. I like it. I like it a lot. I
Yeah.
like it. I
All
like it.
right.
I like
All
it.
right. Listen,
But
now
I'm good to your question.
I told you my line brother already said we like the educated kid and play.
Yeah, right. And I got the hat flipped up today for sure.
Hey, here we go. Here we go. Start the jokes off
Man,
right. Let's
but
go.
but to your point, man, I'm doing pretty good. It's been a productive week. Somehow my Friday ended up kind of slow, so that was nice because I needed that desperately. Um, and then like yesterday, like I said, it was a little slow, but it was really productive in some other ways. But the week, like I told you, my sense of time is all kind of screwed up, man. But start of Saturday morning with a new episode. I'm not complaining, bro. How about you? How you doing?
Nah, man, I feel you, man. I think definitely I'm learning, like, really having to, like, hone in on the self discipline, bro. Like, I'll start the week
Mm,
off strong. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm knocking out
mm,
apart. Half of Thursday, I'm still there too. And then by Thursday, Friday, I'm like, whew,
man.
I'm not as productive as I want to be. So I'm trying to
Yeah,
figure out ways to, continue to stay as productive Thursday, Friday,
yeah,
but not missing the need to for self care and all this. So
yeah,
just thinking about, I didn't work out
yeah.
this week. I will be honest to
Mm.
my folks.
I didn't
You
see
know,
you. I did not
yeah,
see you. I was
yeah,
looking
bro.
for you.
I see you was closing all your rings, sir. I'm like, but it holds me accountable, bro, and that's why we do
Yeah.
it. And so, accountability partners for those who are, trying to work out, trying to maintain, mental health and self care. It works, man. We both have Apple Watches, and we'll challenge each other.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Thankfully, you ain't challenged me this week, because boy, I would have lost that competition. But yeah, man, seeing your posts on IG, seeing your, it'll Bing be like, "Hey, lazy bum." Dennis worked out and completed all his goals today. So what
What
you
you doing?
doing?
What you doing?
I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna get back to it, brother. I'm gonna get back to it.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
oh, yeah,
I'm
man.
with it. So we talked about sneakers a little bit earlier, and I'm curious what you got. What's going on your end today, man? What's up?
All right, so remember I told you, I think the first or second episode I brought the KD11s because whenever I wear like A&T stuff,
Uh
that's
huh.
the blue and gold pair of sneakers that I.
Mm.
But I was
Right,
like,
right.
well, I guess I could throw and go back and get some old relics I have worn with this jersey at homecoming before. So we talk about the fact that we didn't get the shoes that we wanted when we were
Yeah,
kids,
yeah,
but we
yeah,
made
yeah,
promises to ourselves. So when this
yeah.
shoe re-released in 2011 for the first time, this was a shoe that I saw in Slam magazine, where it just had a photo of it and a call-in number because you could try and dial in to get your sneakers, bro. And so I actually had
Wow.
this sneaker. I cut that advertisement out and had it up in my room as like a poster with all the other posters I had, like a Vince
Yeah,
Carter.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So oldie but goodie, the retro, the first retro 2011 conflict
Okay.
of interest. So
Okay, yeah.
wear your
They
sneakers. You see
worn too. I see you wearing
that yeah.
them.
Wear your sneakers. That brown. That means you
I'm
wore them.
scared.
Oxidation and stuff. So
I am
you
scared to
know,
wear mine.
yeah, yeah. But see, you money bags. You got the new one though. You got
I
the
did.
new
I do.
release.
You
Yeah.
right. I got the
So
new ones.
so my old release. They were real skimpy with the leather,
I
the
see.
patent
Ain't nothing
leather.
down there. I got a
It look,
whole
it
lot.
almost looks
I
like a
got extra.
fake. Yeah, it looked horrible, but um,
Yeah.
but it was sentimental. So once I finally I finished school and had a little bit of money, I was working for the federal government at the time, and I was like, "Yo, I'm about to camp out." So me and my homie
Okay.
Taylor Cherry, I hope you listening, bro. We camped out in front of the mall in Greenville, and
Wow.
we camped out for 6 hours, and
Wow.
we got them, man.
Man, this was
Yeah.
back. This was back when. This was back when they don't even do that no more.
Nah.
They don't even do
Well, they
that at
made the
all.
sneakers app for it because people were wilding
Yeah.
and fighting and robbing and stealing, and it just wasn't good.
Man,
But
you're
that
right, bro.
that whole time of sneaker culture, that's a whole nother conversation. But
Man, that'd be a good episode, bro.
that would be because now I'm
That'd be.
fighting against robots because I don't win none of the sneaker app stuff no more because the robots done bought 120 pair of Jordans.
So real, dog. So real.
Yeah,
And
man.
so this jersey you got on, talk to me. What's an Aggie? I'm trying to. What's an Aggie? Just tell us what that is. Just curious. Just curious. I just want to know what is an Aggie.
You know, historically, an Aggie is someone who majors in agriculture, but
Ah.
it has evolved over time because of
Hmm.
my illustrious University of the North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University,
Ah. Okay.
which is now, I think, the largest public HBCU and continues to be the number one graduate of Black engineers. I mean, the
Hmm.
list goes on and on. So nice. I graduated from there twice, undergrad and master's. We'll get into it a little bit later. But now, to be an Aggie is more of a mindset that just embodies excellence in all that you do.
Mm.
Friend, we say achieving great things in everything. Uh, achieving great goals in everything toward a really strong-minded and powerful individual. Assemble and take over. That's what A&T stands for in my book, and we're going to continue to talk about it.
I love it. I love
But
it.
this
Thank you for
jersey was from the
educating us.
bookstore. It's an HBCU throwback. This jersey is from 1985 by a company called
Wow.
Black College Classics. So I think they might have. I don't know if your college had sports in 1985, but they may have a jersey. I am throwing shade.
I feel it. It's getting dark in here.
They may have a jersey for you, but yeah.
Hmm.
And I'm
Hmm.
drinking my green tea out of my social justice mug.
The dopest mug I've ever seen.
And my water from my Gators. I did get my PhD from the University of Florida. Go Gators! So I got love for them too. Always.
Gotta love it.
That's where I met you, bro. That's where I met my wife. And some really dope folks.
Nice.
But yeah, man. How about yourself? I see you with the two
Oh,
tone with the. I've seen God is dope before, but I ain't seen this special limited edition piece you got on
yeah.
right here.
Yeah, man. So I'm gonna actually start at the top. So
Uh,
this just a little Vans cap, but I bought this hat because it's what they call packable. I used to be really big into hats. I used to wear like fitted hats like crazy. I had almost every team from MLB. Shout out to my boy Corey Gillespie. He put me on caps in undergrad. But this is a packable hat, which means you can squish it, you can throw it in your thing, and it keeps its shape, keeps its form. So I like the hat. Got a little thing on the back, so that's cool, But then down to the shirt, the God is Dope shirt, like you said, really dope organization. Love seeing their work. But this is one of the ones that they made following George Floyd's death. So you can see it's all black. I think it's the first time they made one that was monochrome and all black. But then they've got I Can't Breathe in white across it. Of course, funny enough, when I go to Publix, when I'm walking around, I get a lot of eyes. And I'm always curious why I got eyes. And then I remember I got on this shirt. And the only person who said something to me, man, which I'm always interested in this, only person that said something to me was a white lady who said, "I love your shirt." and we started a conversation, and she was sharing like she was in recovery. She was doing some really awesome things in the community, and I was just like really excited to have met her. So I like gave her some encouragement and stuff before I left, but I really appreciated her for opening her mouth and not just looking weird. You know what I mean? Because that's,
Yeah.
again, we talked about this, like the way in which we make some of this change is through conversation. So that was dope.
I love it. I love
The
it.
sneakers, man. This is a sleeper. It's a big sleeper. I slept on it for a while until I saw it for the low, and it didn't cost me a whole lot of money, even though it's called the Air Money. So I got a little black with some peanut butter, little Air Money work. Nothing crazy. Something.
Those,
Little more.
I don't think those are sleepers, but okay. I've seen
These
those. I've seen
these
those.
they was a remake of a 1996 sneaker, the original one that had just the air bubble back here, and then they put the whole air bubble down the bottom. So they called these the Air More Monies. So this just a little something.
The Air More Monies.
Yeah, something like that.
I'll
So
start
that's
calling Money Bag Yo. That's your name.
so we
Hey,
put those
I'm
like,
gonna be honest, man. Listen, not being able to go outside has probably saved a ton of money. Just like cooking from home. So there is more money bags out there.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Now some some people really like to shop online, and that can also drain the pockets, because then when packages are coming from everywhere, so some of us are saving money, some of us are continuing to shop as though nothing changed. Whatever works,
Bro,
just don't spend all your money online.
I'm so thankful, and she'll hear this one day. I'm so thankful that I work from home, and she still works on site.
Hmm.
They practice social distancing and things like that.
Hmm.
But most of the packages come before she comes home, so I have a chance to. There's no like ding dong, and then you look like so. I be having,
Yeah.
I be having my sneakers tucked in the closet, and I pull some out, and she'll be like, "Are those new?" I'll be
Man,
like, "Man, I've been had these."
man, look, your wife is me, because I be in the house like, what's that? I ain't seen those before. Oh, this just a little. And then I
Nah.
saw a post, and I was like, wait, that's the same color, but it's a different, same hoodie, different color. So, oh yeah, I got two of them. Oh,
Oh,
okay, cool. Hmm, this is
okay. Good
interesting.
to
This
know.
is information. Okay, cool. And I'm
Is she
drinking something green. I'm
uh,
drinking something green too, a little smoothie, homemade smoothie. It's got spinach and berries and protein and a banana and some vanilla almond milk in it. So that's what we on this morning.
I hear you, man. For your lady, I apologize now for your flatulence. That sounds like it's gonna be a journey. Hope you ain't doing squats today, brother.
No squats today. Leg day was
Man
yesterday.
said banana, spinach, chai seeds, everything else. Just run right through you. All right, good stuff. I see.
for
Health is
women.
wealth. Health is wealth, man.
For
All right,
women.
so today's episode, bro. We started
Yeah.
show notes. I think Tuesday, and so
Yeah.
much has happened since Tuesday that we've had to add in. That
True.
of course called it historically black. Now,
Yeah.
why did we call it historically black? What was our intention on Tuesday? And now it's like
Man. Well,
even more.
exactly, bro. We started. I don't even remember where we started. We were talking about. Oh, we were texting. We were like, okay, here's an idea. Here's an idea. I was just firing off, and then we started talking about schools we came from, like so being from HBCUs, and then we were like, okay, cool. Let's just talk about the HBCU experience, right now. And not just the experience of being on campus, but kind of like the nation's experience with historically black colleges or universities, right? So we talked a little bit about how it's important, like how right now in the media, right, there's some talk, right? I mean, there are lots of things happening, but one of the many things in the media right now is HBCUs and funding. We know that Beyonce was really important in like making sure HBCUs got a donation. We saw recently Morehouse College got a really big donation, I think, from Netflix and some other organizations, Morehouse and Spelman, I think. So we've seen a lot of buzz about HBCUs, and plus, we both went to HBCUs, so we thought that was important. And then, like I said, since we started there, then it just so happens that two alumni of HBCUs passed recently. So I think that all that stuff started to roll, and we were like, okay, this makes sense. This is the right time to talk about being historically black.
That's right. That's right. I love it, man. And we always have to fight the fight to as advocates for HBCUs. And I think, with me, working in corporate now, really having to understand the need to educate on, even what an HBCU is, when you hear, what's the HBCU, what's the HWI, what's a PWI, like, people are like, what are all these letters and things like that? So when we talk about HBCUs, we're talking about historically black colleges and universities. And when you hear HWIs, these are historically white institutions. And so
Hmm.
definitely want to provide a learning opportunity for people to understand the language that you're hearing, but the historical part of it, so you form an understanding of why they exist. But
Yeah.
also that the HBCU experience and our HBCUs is not a second tier education. And I think that
Right.
that's been something we've always had to fight against. And some of it is systemic. So providing that education is so us as people of color, young people of color who are even thinking about where I'm going to school, you don't forget that you have other options. And so, um,
Hmm.
before we even
Hmm.
dig deep into that, I know we wanted to. Last night or yesterday, we learned about the passing of two civil rights leaders who were both graduates
Yeah.
from HBCUs.
Yeah.
And John Lewis, he transitioned at 80 years of age, who was a Sigma, one of your fellow brothers. And Reverend C.T. Vivian, he was 95 years of age. He also transitioned, and he is one of my Alpha brothers as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both were huge civil rights advocates, meant a lot to the world. So there's been some parallels, man. Like seeing, you being Sigma, me being Alpha, seeing
Yeah.
that happen yesterday. I was like, yo, we have to continue to carry the torch, and everyone has to figure out what part they're going to play in
Yeah.
continuing our fight towards equity. So, we took a couple facts, we did a little bit of research, so we can provide you all with a little bit more understanding of who these men were, and
Hmm.
their biographies are huge. They have books,
Humongous, man.
they have documentaries. But we went to one of the websites that we follow. Because of them, we can. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, and what they do, they provide education. So especially younger people can understand, like, because of
Yeah.
them, we can. So providing
Exactly.
that education. So we took a couple of facts from there, and we just want to go through because we are all about resource sharing. But did you want to talk about your brother, your Sigma
Yeah,
brother,
of
John
course,
Lewis?
man. You got to start with Go Mob. Got to start there. Uh, but as and it's really cool because right now on social media, especially from the brothers in my former chapter, Chi chapter at Morehouse, lots of guys have photos from John Lewis because he was in Atlanta, and everybody's floating those photos around, and it's just amazing to see how many folks, how many lives he touched, especially in my chapter. But he was an alumnus, like you mentioned, of a couple HBCUs. He went to ABC, so that's American Baptist College, and Fisk University. Both of those, that college and that university, are both located here in Nashville. That's where I'm located currently. Um, and it's kind of dope because I got a chance to go to ABC's campus. And I think I told you that I got a chance to meet their president, which was really really cool. It was a rally for a young man who's on death row, so they were doing some really special things. Not a rally, but it was a press conference. I'm sorry. And then Fisk University, I've got a couple friends. One friend that's a professor there that's at Fisk currently. So again, the history in Nashville is really really interesting. He played a major role in desegregating some of the institutions that are located here, especially some of those uh, uh, protests that were the sit-ins at the like at the bars that you see those famous photos of folks sitting at a bar and won't those black folks that wouldn't get up. He's one of those folks that wouldn't get up, and that he was pivotal in desegregating restaurants. So that was extremely important, and again, really, really glad that John Lewis was here, and I'm able to see relics of his work all around the city. Um, so he's also one of the founding members of the SNCC, which is organization. I think it's called the Student. I wrote it down. Um, was the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee,
Mm-hmm.
and that was founded at Shaw University, another HBCU. If I remember correctly, that's in North Carolina, right?
It is. It is.
Um, uh-huh. He was also one of the original freedom riders, as well as was actually a Democrat, and I think he was one of the whips in the Democratic Party. in the House of Representatives as a significant part in fighting for racial justice and equity. So we see some of the semblances of his hard work here in Nashville, but like I said, especially in Atlanta, Georgia. You go there, it's hard to go anywhere without hearing about, seeing John Lewis. I was in some church services where John Lewis was when I was in Morehouse. And that man has been pivotal to the kind of the state of Black people. One of the many things, and you'll talk about this in a moment, man, but one of the many things that he and CT Vivian had in common was, of course, Dr. King. They marched together, they sat together. I mean, they were, side by side when it came to working with Dr. King in the fight for equity and civil justice. Um, so, yeah, man, that's kind of a quick, brief history. What about Brother Vivian?
Yeah, brother Vivian, frat, like we said, onward and upward. First of all, servants of all, we shall transcend all. Because he was
Okay,
gonna
okay,
pop
okay,
it up,
okay.
sir.
Okay, okay, okay.
Just saying, he was a well-renowned civil rights leader, activist, and minister. And so a lot of people came to him for just leadership in that realm. Well respected for the work he did on the front lines of the civil rights movement in the 1940s. But also he was the the director of affiliates for the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and
Hmm.
helped organize the first sit-ins in Nashville, Tennessee, which is pretty dope.
Dope.
When we kind of spoke to it earlier, him and
Yeah.
John Lewis knew each other, and both
Hmm.
were of the original Freedom Riders. So they both were beaten and arrested together. And so
Wow.
when you talk about that unity, you hear about the fraternities and sororities. We might, have different colors and different ways of saying things, but the traditions are still the same. And it is about service. It's about public good.
Absolutely.
It's about making the world better for everyone. It's about that equity. Also
Yeah.
in the 1970s, he founded, Brother Vivian founded the National Anti-Klan Network, an anti-racism
Wow.
organization that focused on monitoring Ku Klux Klan activity, which was
Wow.
because even today I'm sitting here, I'm sure they're being monitored. I would hope that they would. But, oh, sometimes you
That's
can't wait on
crazy.
others to build what you think is being built to help protect you. And so what they were
So
doing was
weird.
finding ways to locate and identify Ku Klux Klan activity for our
Wow.
safety, but also for accountability for them in terms of any harm they might be trying to do to others.
Wow.
And also in 2013, President
Hmm.
Barack Obama awarded Brother Vivian the highest civilian honor in the nation, which was the Presidential Medal of Freedom for his
Yeah.
work. And so again, man, it's just it's beautiful to hear and kind of think about their legacies, to learn of their legacies, because it helps us to understand that we have more to do on our end.
Yeah.
But as our leaders transition into our ancestors, we have to carry the responsibility of being those new leaders. And so
It's
I'm
real.
thankful and grateful for the work that they did, but excited to know that we have everything within us, and everyone who's listening and shares this, you
Mm.
have all of what's needed within you to create and maintain the same type of legacy for the betterment of this world that they did. So,
Yeah,
um,
brother. I really appreciate the way you put that. As our leaders become our ancestors, I think that we started this podcast thinking about, like, how do we pay homage to Dr. King, and then the
yeah.
day before we record, we learned this information about CT Vivian and Brother
Mhm.
Lewis. It is, in a lot of ways, the same work being done by them. To your point, right? It's just interesting that here we are, two Black doctors um, who care a lot about the state of Black America. And here we are recording a podcast using our tools that we have in 2020 in some similar ways as folks have been using their tools in the 1960s and 1940s. And we're still fighting the same fight. One thing I think is important to say is that, you know, that progress is a slow process, right? And John Lewis had a really cool um, quote about this that I don't want to butcher, but he was talking about, like, how we have to continue this fight and this work will continue for the entirety of our lives. And it's really cool how, like, this man lived for 80 years and CT Vivian for 95, and how they were able to see, kind of before the civil rights era, during the civil rights movement, and kind of post civil rights, and how nowadays we are still fighting in a different way, but
Mhm.
fighting the same fight for humanity, for civility, for equity, equality. So I think that it's just really special, right? That we have the privilege to be able to use a platform to talk about and to educate folks about some of these experiences that we've been having and living in order to leverage some of our allies and to really make sure the change feels more concrete than it might have when we were born, when we were raised.
Yeah, that's real, man. That's real. And I like the way you touched on, using the technology that we have in 2020 to do that because, the phones that we have are video recorders, voice recorders. I mean, we don't have all of the best equipment. I mean, right now we're using Anchor to,
Yep.
cast our audio. So this is straight through earpods and speakerphones.
Right.
We're using webcams that we can also use from our phones. And so though the need is still there for us to, fight for social justice and equity, you just see it evolve over time where the technology changes, maybe the word and the verbiage changes, but the
Yeah.
fight is still the same. And so just encouraging other people, start that podcast, write that album, write that book, do the things that have been within you because you have talents and gifts that the world needs to hear because it helps us grow as a society, as one
Facts.
people. And so you might not get it right, just like with the intro. I'm not cutting it again and re-edit it. Let's roll with it. Because the thing is, we did it. So just
Yeah.
do it, and people will like that authenticity. They will
Yeah.
like to see it being built. But the time is now, and that's the whole reason we started this podcast. The time is now. No more
Yeah.
excuses. No more waiting to get the best cameras and this, that, and the third. Let's plug it up. Let's hit IG Live is the way it first started, and now
Man.
we're on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
Yep.
Facebook,
Yep.
Instagram, Twitter.
Yep. Yep.
Please like and subscribe. Shameless plug because it helps us be searchable for
Yes.
people who are trying to find this content. So,
Hmm. Hmm.
shameless plug as we continue to transition
Yeah.
through our conversation. But we got to do it, man. We got to do
Yeah,
it.
man, it's really important. I love that. I think so. One of the things that you and I talked about, like how we got here, involves our experiences at HBCUs, right?
Hmm.
And so I wanted to start by, like, let's give a little bit, and you're better at this than I am. Give us a little bit of history about HBCUs, and then I want to talk a little bit about like how I even got to Morehouse, which is a
Okay.
shame. But we're
Okay.
gonna start there, and then I want to hear some of the. It's a
I got
shame.
you. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. Um, when people even hear HBCUs, I think a lot who just are uneducated on the topic think that somehow black folks just decided we're gonna build our own college
Mm,
and we're gonna do our own thing.
mm,
That was not the case. So we're thinking about post Civil War and people civilians within the country are trying to figure out ways to get educated. And at that time, agriculture and engineering or agricultural and mechanical type uh,
yeah.
work those were the leaders. It was building with your hands and your mind, the early stage of leadership development and engineering, if that makes any sense.
Hmm. Hmm.
So most of your leaders were farmers, or they built the farm equipment, or they built the houses. They were construct. They did a lot of things with their head in mind.
Yeah.
So at that point, Abraham Lincoln was trying to find a way to create educational opportunities for the common man to be able to afford. So
Yeah.
in 1860, they passed what was called the Morrill Act, 1862, my apologies.
Yeah.
And that provided federal funds to create public land grant institutions. And remember, land grant, whenever you hear that, every state has a state college, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so these land grant institutions were federally funded or heavily federally funded institutions so the common man could afford to go to school and learn at that time, agricultural,
Right.
mechanical type related things.
Yeah.
So the A&M that you see, like,
Yeah.
Florida
Yeah. Yeah.
A&M or
Hmm.
Texas A&M, like that's where the A&M, those are historical. So
Okay.
here's the
Yeah. Yeah.
thing. Uh, because we've never had to deal with racial injustice. I'm shameless, satire. They wouldn't let people of color go. They wouldn't let us be there.
What?
They wouldn't let us go to for all men created equal except the blacks over there.
What
And
on
that's
the
literally
man?
what happened. They wouldn't let you stay. It was like, no, not on my campus, right?
What?
So your black life doesn't matter. That's the way they
But
approached it.
all lives
So,
matter.
oh, but not all lives could attend your 1862 school. So I
Weird.
say all that.
Weird.
So we had, it was determined separate versus equal
Mm-hmm.
passed. And so now they said, well, you can have your school. So they established what were called 1890 institutions. And
Yeah.
so these were historically black college universities. These were supposed to be the sister equivalent in terms of resources and funding for
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
black people to get the same level of public education. Now,
Mm.
of course, they never received the same level of education. And so a lot of times, though there were funds and dollars allocated to purchase the land,
Mm-hmm.
most of the time and in most of the cases, the community, the black community and allies of the black community
Mm.
got together and put in their dollars or sold their
Crazy.
own property to
Crazy.
be able to support where we built these HBCUs. And so
Right.
HBCUs were not created because we just want to do our own thing. They were
Right.
created because you wouldn't let us. They wouldn't
Mm.
let us attend their institutions. So like if you take for instance, I'm from North Carolina, right? So NC State, North Carolina
Right.
State
Yeah.
University,
Yeah.
they were the 1862 land grant institution. And
Yeah.
then in 1890, North Carolina A&T, 1891 was when it was built. That's when it became the sister the sister
Yeah.
state
Yeah. Yeah.
college for
Wow.
blacks to attend. Now,
Wow.
what we found too, when I was serving as student body vice president, we ran through some documents and we're trying to still, I don't know if it's been validated yet, but Dr. Judy Rashid, she was our advisor there. She was doing some research and she thinks that the first A&T students were actually originally at NC State, but NC State wouldn't let them on campus. So they actually
Aha.
had to study and attend classes in the basement of Shaw University. And so
Oh,
we think that
wow.
before A&T was established, Shaw University was the hub for us to be able to become an institution and to create learning. So you
Huh.
just see spaces like this where HBCUs throughout time have always had a duty to serve. It's
Yeah.
never been a we want more than. It's always been we will do the best that we can to serve our community and others as well. But it's
Yeah.
always been an ongoing fight.
Hmm.
So that's
Hmm.
kind of the historical space there.
Dope.
Interesting
Dope.
enough, I have on a football jersey. We were dominating athletics because we couldn't go to their schools. We weren't allowed to integrate in terms of sports. But then you saw soon after they got smart
Yeah.
and money grab happened. And so you started to see a lot of our 5-star athletes get
Mm-hmm.
recruited to the big institutions because of TV time and to be able
Mm-hmm.
to, have more exposure is what it was sold.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to see that we're starting to see that no, they were sold an idea. If you have the talent, they'll find you. The
There you
same way
go.
we went to HBCUs and the places that we work, they found us because we
True.
have the talent.
True.
Um,
Very true.
so I hope that we continue to see like the brother that the 5-star recruit that just committed to Howard. I hope we
McCord
start to see
Maker,
that.
I think is his name. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope we
Mm-hmm.
start to see Mikey Williams. He's talking about the HBC at the top of his
Yeah.
list because I would look. I honestly, I'm a little selfish. I was talking to my uncle Thomas. He said, "You know what would be good if they all went to the same HBCU and go to the Final Four, win a national championship. That would be kind of dope,
I
And
think
then
Tommy
we
know
can
what he's
continue.
talking about.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, well, one go here, one go there.
That's what I
I
was
hope
thinking.
Mikey Williams go to A&T, but I'm like, oh, but if they all went to the same, they're still gonna do the one and done type thing. It
Yeah, it's
makes
true.
sense. Go, imagine five
Ooh,
star starting five
that'd be
at an
crazy.
HBCU going to the Final Four. Just what that would do for all the HBCUs. Anyway,
That's
we'll talk
true.
about this.
That's
Yeah,
true. Wow.
but just something to think
Wow.
about. Yeah, so that's a little
Wow.
historical, little bloop bloop of what an
Okay.
HBCU is. So PWI, predominantly white institution.
Yep.
HWI, historically white institution. HBCU, historically black. But people
Hmm.
also don't know the HBCUs are very diverse.
Yes.
Their diversity numbers are well above an average of 43%. So when
Hmm.
if you're a white or any other race and ethnicity, nationality, know that it's not all black at A&T and Morehouse. Like
That's true.
there's a lot
That's
of
true.
diversity there.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I just think that
Hmm.
we don't talk about
Hmm.
it enough, and we'll get more into that experience a little bit later on.
Yeah.
But brother,
Yeah. Yeah.
tell me
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
how were you feeling about all of it?
So yeah, man. So I always appreciate. That's one thing that you, and because of your experience in the agricultural world and the leadership world, you and some of the other people that went to nca&t that I met at UF, that you guys really understand that history, and that's really great to remind us all of. I know that I talked a little bit about being in Nashville and coming from Atlanta, and it's kind of neat that Atlanta, the city of Atlanta, the metropolitan area, has more HBCUs in that city than any other city in the United States. And some of those institutions include like Morehouse College, right? For those who don't know, Morehouse College is a school that was founded to educate Black men specifically, right? So to date, we still have educated our classes. I think the largest class we've had has been the entire institution's around 3,000 students. And our president has, over and over again, our presidents have said we want to keep it kind of this small class size. That way, so the institution doesn't grow too big because we want to make sure it stays intimate. My classes were never any more than 25 or 30 students. And even much smaller than that as I got more and more into my major. I did biology and Spanish there. So, and yeah, man, I'm fluent, bro. You ain't know that?
No,
Yeah, yeah, man.
okay.
That was a funny story too, man. Anyway, I was doing a math something, and I ended up doing biology as my major. I was gonna do Spanish as a minor. My Spanish teacher was not having it. I was 300 level classes at that point. She was like, "You're not doing a minor. It won't do you any good. So instead of chilling your senior year, you're taking 4 Spanish classes per semester. So 4, and then another 4. I got the degree. Like knocked it out. So and it was not easy. 26, 27 page paper in Spanish. About El Campo and Argentina, and I ended up doing a talk at Birmingham Southern College. I think that's the name of it in Spanish. It was crazy. So yeah, that's one of the things that I do.
You think you know somebody, then you find out it's a whole nother context.
I've done therapy in Spanish, man. So that's
You have done therapy in Spanish.
Yeah.
I have not heard you say Spanish word in the years that I have.
Yeah.
This is not a trick in the bag. All right, cool.
Whatever.
I didn't
So
mean to throw you off topic, my bad, but okay.
it's just
Institutions. Yeah.
whatever. So Morehouse is cool. It's all male, about 3,000 students. Across the street is Spelman College. That is an institution that was founded upon educating Black women. So really, really great relationship between Morehouse and Spelman. There's Clark Atlanta University there as well. Morehouse School of Medicine, ITC, the Interdenominational Theological Center. I think I got that right. That's where people get their religious degrees, as well as some philosophical degrees, as well as CAU, Morehouse, Spelman. Oh yeah, and then Morris Brown is in that same area. That's what we call the Atlanta University Center, right? So those institutions there. I think I got them all. AUC, exactly. And they all kind of educate in different ways, right? So Morehouse is private, Spelman is private, but Clark is public. And I had the opportunity to take classes at all of those institutions while I was at Morehouse, so that was really great. So anyway, there are about 107 HBCUs in the nation. 56 of them are private, like I just mentioned, Morehouse, Spelman, and 51 are public. And about 250,000 of the Black students, 250,000 Black people attend these HBCUs throughout the nation. The state with the most HBCUs is Alabama. They've got about 16. And Georgia and North Carolina both have 12. Like I mentioned, Atlanta has the most HBCUs. But funny enough, Nashville, the second most. There are 4 here in Nashville. You never would have thought, man.
No.
But they got 4. It's ABC, so the American Baptist College. There is Fisk University. There's Meharry Medical College, and there is Tennessee State University. So there are 4 here in this city. So it's kind of dope.
Yeah.
So I was gonna share with you, man, how I got to Morehouse, which is kind of whack. Like,
Whatever.
so all my friends, and I swear this is not a flex. I promise it's not a flex. So all my friends, they applied to all these schools in high school. Everybody applied to schools all over the place. Everybody applied to 4, 5, 6 schools, at least. I applied to 2 schools, both PWIs. I had visited their campuses, and I had come home. I grew up near Hampton University, right? So I didn't want to go to Hampton. I was like, I can't go here. It's too close to home. I've been on their campus.
Don't let Brother Sheldon hear that.
I know. I know my boy Frank. He's a Hampton alumnus too. So I couldn't do it. I just tired of Hampton. I had to get out, get away from home. So I applied to these two PWIs. I didn't get in to either one of them. One of them had the nerve to send me two rejection letters just to let me
Oh,
know, in case you ain't know,
KJ, don't come here.
don't come.
Don't
Don't
come.
come.
There's no
Don't you?
place for
Don't
you.
come. There's no place for you here. So,
But we appreciate your application fee.
thank you. Yeah.
That is
So
not
thank
a
you for the
refundable.
fee. Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
They took that for sure. So then I really didn't know what I was gonna do. Right. I was smart. I had a lot of extracurriculars. My mama had already made it clear, boy, you turn 18, you got to get out of my house. Right. I don't know what you're gonna do, but you got to get out. So my guidance counselor, he came to me and was like, "Hey, I went to Morehouse. Did you think about applying?" And I was like, I remembered going to a tour of Morehouse College when I was younger, like maybe 5 years before that. And I remember when I walked into the King's Chapel, which is where we hold a lot of our events, and Dr. King has a statue in the front.
And
I
who
remember.
did also did Dr. King go to your institution?
Oh, the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was an alumnus, an esteemed alumnus of this institution I'm talking about, the Morehouse College. Something like. So we went in the King's Chapel when I was about 13, 12, and they had said something like a Morehouse man always has a pen, and that just always struck me. Like I was like, so then they started talking a little more about how like when you go to an institution like Morehouse, we're gonna do more than just make you like a worker. We're gonna work on you being a man.
Mm.
And I remembered like as I got older, when that guidance counselor when I was 18 had mentioned Morehouse, that's what stuck out to me. Like so then I applied. Shortly after that, fast turnaround. They sent a man and a woman, one from Morehouse and one from Spelman, to my house to meet my mama, to talk to me. Shortly thereafter, I went ahead and applied, and they gave me a scholarship, and they were like, we really want you to come. And within probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks turnaround, I had already committed to go to Morehouse. And when I got to campus, I realized that this was an institution that people had been wanting to come to their entire lives. Like many of my friends were like, they grew up 4, 5, 6 years old taking pictures at Morehouse, hoping they could someday come.
Yeah.
So I really, I know I took it for granted. I took the experience before I got there for granted. And in retrospect, it is the best decision I've ever made in my life. I mean, I am a much better man for it. And my experiences there really prepared me for the mostly white world, right? The professional world, circles that I run in. These are folks that I needed to have some type of confidence to be around, and the type of confidence and an investment in me, not just from my teachers and administrators, like the conversations I would have at the lunch tables with some of these brothers that I would bump into, just like, hey man, let's just have lunch together.
Yeah.
Really opened up my worldview and changed who I am as a man. So I'm just really grateful that I didn't get into those PWIs. And then ended up going to the University of Florida, right, APWI, to gain my
Mm.
master's and PhD. So, yeah, thank you for not letting me into your school.
Dr. McLeod,
Dr. McLeod thanks you.
who also speaks Spanish fluently and
Yeah,
wrote 37 million pages of fluent Spanish. All right. Next time I go to Miami, you got to come with me, sir.
Hey, as long, yeah, I'm down
Miami
to
is not
be your
America; it's a whole
translator.
different
You
country.
you
No,
got that right. You
I've been
got
there,
that
and
right.
I migrated from Florida to Texas, so it's
Hmm.
interesting too. Culturally, people think I'm Hispanic
Oh yeah, yeah,
here
yeah.
before they
Light
think
skin,
I'm black. Yeah, I
light
guess.
skin, and got the good hair.
Yeah, yeah. So I feel bad, like when folks start speaking Spanish and I don't
Yeah.
know any, because I took
Mm.
Japanese.
Oh,
Took 4 years of Japanese at North Carolina A&T State University. So
wow.
yeah, yeah. So
I did not know that.
Ohio gozaimasu. Watashi wa
Stop. You
jiren
better,
desu.
you
Yeah,
better
there
stop
we go.
cussing at me, bro.
So
I don't know
I'm
what you're
not. I just
saying,
said
so
good
I'm gonna take
morning.
it
My
as
name is
disrespect.
Jaren. I just kept it light. Now I didn't write. I
I'm
didn't
gonna
write
take it.
them. I ain't write them thesis on Japanese. Actually, I kind of lost interest when I saw where they saw black people, but it's the westernized view that was a big
Oh,
influence there. A lot of that is getting better, but I was like,
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
good. But yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So North Carolina A&T, how I got there, man, it was very
Right, right.
interesting. I was at a brand new high school, South Central High School, 30 Birds, first to fly, first graduating class, and I never heard about HBCUs at school.
Hmm.
At home, my mother went to North Carolina A&T State University
Wow.
in 1970s to
Wow.
do theater. So she was always like, "You just need to like see, just you just need to go, you know." But at that time, it's like your mom is telling you something, so you think you're a grown man. You're like, "Okay, I hear you,"
Right.
but if it comes from somebody else, you might, or if you experience it yourself, and feel like you made that man decision for yourself. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I didn't even really have it on my books. I wanted to go to Carolina. I
Okay.
idolized Vince Carter, and he was at the University of Chapel Hill,
Oh yeah.
uh, studying African American studies.
I
So
did
I
not
was
know that.
like, they have the major. I want to do it. At that time he had gone to Toronto Raptors. They were like in the playoffs and the finals. He was
Okay, yeah.
played a finals game, but he went back to finish his degree and graduate, and then
Oh,
flew to the next game, right? And
dope.
so I was just like, "Oh, this is so dope! Like, they must be doing something right there." And so I wanted to go to Carolina. I always was a Tar Heels fan. I just wanted to do that, right?
Okay,
And
yeah.
then there was a shift, man. I was tired of being the only black person in all of my
Hmm.
class, or at least the only black male. Do you know how awkward it is to read the journeys of Huckleberry Finn, and the main black character is called
Bro,
Nigga Jim?
bro, I do know that feeling.
I didn't want to be
I
that
too
person,
am
and
America.
bruh, like, and
I'm
I
with
had
you.
to watch my friends, say N word and be uncomfortable. They didn't say the N word,
Oh boy.
but
Oh
they would
yeah.
be like,
They
the
will say
fact that
N
I'm
word.
a student seeing this, and I feel like I'm representing my whole race. Do
Mm-hmm.
I flip a table over? Do I throw a chair? Do I sit
Mm.
there? If I sit there, am I
Boy.
invisible? Do I go limp? I was
Whew.
tired, and I was really like, yo, why? It's not that any of my counterparts and my classmates were any smarter than any of my other friends.
Yeah.
It was just, some just didn't know to do the honors, the AP, or just didn't think that they could do it, and they didn't see anybody else that looked like them doing it,
Yeah, that's
but
true,
me.
dog. That's true.
Um, so it wasn't until I had started the application process. I was really gung ho going to Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
and they sent me a piece of mail that said, "You gotta come. We're having minority student weekend." And I
Okay.
looked at, and some folks probably saw it. My mom was like, "Yo, that's. I'm
Yeah,
glad they're
yeah,
trying." I was looking like, "Call that."
yeah.
Like minority student weekend, and it was literally reading like where you'll see all the other. And in my head, I said all the other black kids
Mm-hmm.
are coming for this one weekend so we can get to know each other, so we can like
Mm.
survive together. I was
Mm.
like, nah, man. So like two
Mm.
weeks later,
Yeah.
I had already like been looking at A&T as well, and I went and visited
Yeah.
A&T, and it just felt like home. I went home like, "Mom, I am sorry." And she was like, "I told you, you just gotta get there. You just gotta see it.
Oh.
You just have to
Oh.
experience it. To see so many people of color, so many black people that look like you
Mm-hmm.
doing it. Like they had the marching band out, they had the professors that were out answering questions. Like it felt like an experience I had never felt. It felt like what Wakanda looked like on Black Panther. Like it was just like
Yeah.
this exists."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
bro, I was done. I didn't finish my application to Chapel Hill. I was done with all the other schools I was looking at.
Yeah.
I was going to A&T, brother, and it was the best decision I ever made because I
Oh.
got to be a student. I didn't have to
Yeah.
show up and be the only and speak on behalf of my race. I saw black
Mm-hmm.
professors who poured into me and told me of the responsibility of what it means to come from an HBCU. They also recognized that the outside world might view HBCUs ideally because of the way they've been pushed and
Yeah.
marketed
Yeah.
by
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
other institutions being lesser than. So I
Mm-hmm.
got a better education at A&T because they said you can't leave this school and not produce because you can't make the university look bad.
Ooh,
There's too
man.
much at stake. So
Man,
if it was not for the tutelage and the mentorship of the advisors and the people and just the system of the HBCU to pour into you, I wouldn't have gotten my PhD.
that's real.
I would have just
That's
went for the
real.
money grab. I had my undergrad, I had my master's. My advisor, the great Dr. Alston, in Carver Hall, he was like, if you have it, you have to hold the responsibility of going to get it based off of the gifts that you have. You
Mm.
will get your PhD because you have all the tools that you need.
Yeah,
Um, and so that you kind of don't have a choice. He was
yeah,
right. And
yeah,
that's what got me to the University of Florida. And he said, you want to diversify your education. So it's good to have this experience and have another experience so you can speak to
yeah,
both. But
yeah.
this, I'm grateful for the experience of North Carolina A&T because I don't know if I went to the University of Florida first, would I have kept going to get my PhD?
Good
Would I
part.
just done undergrad and bounce? But
Mm-hmm.
there was a greater duty, a duty of service that our HBCUs teach us. That the
Mm.
expectation is, if you have those talents, if you have those gifts to give, you
Yeah,
give them. You give them, and you don't lose by giving them. So,
that's dope.
Aggie
That's
pride.
dope. That's dope, bro. Speaking of HBCUs, didn't Meg the Stallion go to HBCU?
I knew you was gonna bring up Big.
I mean, I'm asking for a reason.
she
I'm just asking.
she's on her second. So
Okay,
the first one, she was at Prairie View,
right.
and apparently there was a twerking video scandal.
Scandal,
And
scandal, scandalous.
I did say, yeah. I mean, she did mention it is hot in Houston, or in that area wherever, you know, she was twerking. She's now at Texas Southern. She's doing
Okay.
online learning, and not to nothing against Texas Southern. It's not A&T in my opinion, but
Yeah.
but I forgot I'm in Texas. I got to be careful what I'm talking. Um, I love. She's at Texas Southern. I think she's doing
Okay.
online learning now. She was doing some in class sessions. So yeah,
Yeah.
she's currently an HBCU student right now. So commend her for that. I think I know where
Dope.
this is going because some ratchetness has happened this past week.
Yeah, I was just want to just check in. You know, um, you know, didn't Tory who shot her? That's all I want to know. Who shot her? She was shot, right? Let's start there. She was shot.
In the foot.
Shot in the foot.
She's
Okay.
okay,
She's okay. She's
but
alive and well.
she did tweet. She's traumatized,
Okay.
and I can understand that.
Okay.
So apparently she was in Hollywood Hills. According to IG Live prior to, she was
Okay.
with
Yeah.
Tory Lanez,
Yeah.
Canadian rapper, and
Canadian rapper.
I think Kylie Jenner was there.
Okay. Tory Lanez the guy that got the hair plug thing in the top, right? He got the
Yeah,
hair did.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He ain't been
Okay.
broke in a minute. I don't know if you've seen that
Yeah,
video,
yeah, yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Right, right,
He,
right.
he he just gone independent. Looked like he was on a wave. He was riding a wave.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
I don't. If what has happened,
Hmm.
supposedly she was shot, and they're looking to see if it was more of a domestic assault versus
Domestic.
right. So we're still waiting for more details.
Okay.
But if
Okay.
Tory Lane shot Meg the Stallion,
Let's hope not.
bruh,
Let's hope
what in
not.
the world are we doing?
Uh,
Well, I
uh,
don't put myself with we. That's ignorant. I ain't got nothing,
what in the world are they doing?
bruh, bruh. But
Yeah.
so naturally, I found myself making jokes because it's like what? Like it's so it doesn't make any sense. Like y'all are rich,
Right.
y'all are riding this wave. Like how does
Right.
stupid stuff like this happen? And then I was like, but I'm not supposed to laugh. And then you brought up a
Right.
good point. Help
Hmm.
me to understand how to process through this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what I was saying was, that like, so jokes are important, right? Um, if and this is why I have a really close friend, Alberto Ortega, and he and I talk about comedy all the time. He's a professor, I think, in economics currently, and um, you know, all we do is talk about stupid stuff in comedy because we have to balance the gravity with the levity, like trying to find some ways for things not to be so heavy. So once I figured out that Megan Stallion was okay, and then she had got shot, and then she's alive and well, everything's cool. And the same comment we made in the last podcast, right? To find some ways to cope with the stress that's happening right now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And like the coping can look real different, right? It can look real different. In fact, I was talking to somebody yesterday about Dave Chappelle and his recent 8 minutes and 46 seconds, I think was the name of the special, right? That was on Netflix most recently. And Chappelle is normally a guy who we think of as hilarious, always making us laugh, saying silly, funny stuff. But this was dark, right? This
yeah,
was really, really dark, and it really involved a lot about George Floyd. Like I talked about the show earlier, a lot about George Floyd and other people who have died. But I thought about how he's using his platform, right? He is coping in the way he knows how to cope, right? He is a comedian. People are expecting to laugh, and his decision was, "This is how I'm coping right now, so y'all gonna get that work," right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so sometimes only thing I care about when it comes to coping is that you're finding a healthy balance between,
Right, right.
the things that are important to you, like, and also the things that would be able to kind of like create some sense of safety and some sense, you know what I mean? Things that matter to me as opposed to like may harm somebody else. But as long as you're doing things, I always feel like in moderation, but I mean, moderation can look different for different people.
Mhm.
Finding ways to cope with the stress and the heaviness and the quarantine and the like, the working at home and all that stuff. Sometimes that involves like media. Sometimes it
Yeah,
involves social media. Sometimes it involves watching TV and laughing. I got a show I love to watch. It's real stupid, but it's important to me. It helps me stay alive, right? It helps me cope.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
so laugh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
laugh.
Laugh, but also, like you said, that balance, man. Because like the memes have been what I have laughed at. It's like, man, like y'all are really creative, with, with these memes. But you hit on the point, man. We laugh through the pain in a lot of
Yeah,
situations, and but the key is to remember to not forget about why it's painful, or to to keep that
yeah.
focus on the balance. So, um, I wanted to make sure we could talk about the human side of us, like
Mm.
a natural, knee jerk. It might not even be. It's not the right
Mm.
reaction, but it was the authentic action to talk about, and then to delve deeper into the responsibility that we have to talk a little bit more. And I think that I really wanted to express too. On this podcast, we do our best job to honor women, honor our LGBTQ folks, our Black and
Absolutely.
Brown people, and our white
Hmm.
friends and family as well. We try to honor everyone, and so she did mention in one of her tweets, man. She's been taken aback watching people kind of laugh at her trauma, and she's
Hmm.
like really traumatized and going through it right now. And she mentioned like Black women having to always, kind of be disrespected in a way.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring it to light because I think that's a part of balance that we have. Why do would we do the same thing? And this is
Hmm.
a this isn't
Hmm.
not necessarily something we have to answer on a podcast for each other, but just
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Thinking about culturally, like would we laugh at someone else if the role changed? If it was, I would
Right.
think, I would hope so, but you have to take the time to self reflect and evaluate. Like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm for one. We knew she was okay, and we knew
Yeah.
that physically, but not mentally. I mean, of course, we
Right.
don't her
Right.
mental
Right. Right.
state, but also recognize, yes, we have to be held accountable to make sure we're thinking about how are we protecting the most marginalized folks. And right now, I think it is the Black woman.
Black women. Black
And
women.
we appreciate you all for the constant work and the way
Hmm.
you support us as Black men.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just important for us to mention that and then to kind of drive home that, for Meg, we hope that you're okay. If Tory indeed was the shooter, done. Done, bruh. Done. No respect. I don't, no respect at all. Well, I mean, of course, more information as it comes out,
Yeah.
it might
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
perspective in terms of if he
Yeah.
had anything to do with that,
Yeah, that
done.
thought. I
Period.
won't even let that. Like
But
that thought
yeah,
is
no, yeah. But if it was like an accidental thing,
right,
and
right, right.
like if it was an accident with no intention to like
Hmm.
even point or harm her, like it was
Right.
like
He
some
dropped it.
weird, right, something like that.
Hmm.
Cool. But yeah, we got to hold our brothers accountable. We got
Oh
to hold
goodness,
everyone accountable the same way. So
that's real, bro. That's real.
yeah. So we can laugh at the beginning, but we got to talk about the weight and the
What
seriousness. I
exactly the
appreciate
implications,
it.
man? For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, man. So BLM update. Got to make sure to give some folks some of that information. Um, we usually try to give folks an update on like what have the changes been in the past since our last episode, and we haven't seen enough change.
No.
Like there's we've seen like so our social media feeds have changed, right? For the worse, right? We haven't seen enough kind of continued conversation around oppression of Black people. Specifically, Breonna Taylor's death is the one that continues to stay at the forefront of my mind. Um, we have not seen the arrest for the murderers of Breonna Taylor, and I know the justice system is a slow one, but it doesn't seem so slow for certain people. If you're a Black man in these streets, you're a Black woman in these streets, if you're a Black woman in your home, it seems as though justice can be served, justice, quote unquote. But there seems to be some problems. Again, the protesters, we saw like people like Yandy and some of the other celebrities that were protesting.
Yeah.
Exactly. YB and Corday, Portia, I think Portia was there as well. And then to see them get arrested so quickly, why are these murderers still walking around?
And charged with felonies, bro.
A felony, right? A felony. You get a felony, it's over, bro. Like,
But they know that,
so,
and that's like, and this is what we got to talk about: the systemic oppression. There, if you know that felonies and those types of things disproportionately affect
hmm
marginalized people, and it was
hmm
Black and white allies,
yeah,
like it was
it
a
was,
diverse group.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
But like this
Yeah, it's a
stuff,
mess. It's a mess. It's a mess.
bruh,
It's a
it's just
mess.
well,
It's a mess. It is the epitome of gaslighting Black folks. Right? You're trying to make us as Black people think we crazy because we are protesting, because we are using the platforms that we have, because there was a post I saw recently about there was some, God, I can't remember what city this was in, but there was a governor, mayor, some U.S. official, where there was a group of middle-aged white men who showed up to their house on their front lawn, stood on their porches. They were fully armed, demanding justice. Um,
mm,
these men were asked to leave. And then you get a group of Black and white folks sitting in the grass, um, protesting. Again, like I said, these celebrities, Robbie and Corday, Portia Williams, all of them there. And then these folks are all arrested. 87, I think was the number, all
yeah,
arrested and then charged with felonies. Felonies. Not armed. The only thing that was damaged there was the grass. They said, if anything, where the windows were broken in the other experience with the middle-aged white man. I'm sorry, but this nation was created for the success and support of white men, and because of that, when we see the relics of that all the time, situations like this. So even demanding justice for someone who was murdered, right? So we're not even trying to save the life of Breonna Taylor at this point. We're just trying to get justice, right?
that's it. Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, you're just so spot on with it, man. It's like they will literally have you feeling like you crazy for asking for justice,
Right, right.
like
Like you don't deserve justice. You crazy.
bro. And
Stop
then
stop destroying buildings.
yes, and I've also seen responses. Well, what about black on black crime?
Oh my!
So
Don't
listen,
get boy. I will.
here's the thing.
Man.
Here's the thing. First off, crime is relative. There's no such thing as black on black crime. If crime is
No,
crime, so
crime is
it's
crime.
based off of who lives around you and who's around you at the time. That's just the way that it is.
Right.
But also, people are working on that too. You can
Of
do
course.
more than one. Like you have organizations that are in the streets that are protesting and marching and doing community based activities to continue to build that bridge for the lowering of crime in
Yes.
uh, communities that have very few resources.
Right.
But also, justice is still being served at a much higher percentage for
Yeah.
crime than it is for what do you call it? Some immunity that we're trying to ask people to
Uh,
take away.
Diplomatic. Um,
It's close to diplomatic
it's
immunity. It's
something.
like
It's.
this is gonna bother me because it's very important because they've been talking about it with Joe Biden. Um, we got to make sure we get it right for our folks.
Qualified immunity.
Qualified immunity.
There we
So
go.
with police officers, you can qualified immunity allows you to almost in a sense make a mistake and go to a
Yeah.
wrong house
Yeah.
and kill somebody and can't really get the same level of charges as if a normal person
A
outside of the
normal person.
police or someone in that position of power did the same crime. So
It's crazy.
qualified immunity is one of the big things that we've been pushing and people have been pushing Biden and Trump to talk about and discuss as we talk about equity. But yeah, man, Black Lives
Keep
Matter.
fighting. They matter. They always matter. They always have mattered.
Always will.
Um,
No one else's life can matter until Black Lives Matter.
you got that right.
Well, all lives
Um,
can't matter until Black Lives Matter.
so technically, all lives can't matter yet.
Yeah,
Okay.
because you're not acknowledging the fact that Black lives matter and have not been acknowledged.
Speaking of Black lives,
You're
Keisha, Keisha. You know, Keisha Bottoms.
Keisha Cole.
Uh, Keisha Bottoms, fool. The one that's the mayor of Atlanta.
Yes, yes, yes.
Um, Brian Kemp need to stop. That's all I'm gonna say. Brian Kemp need to stop. You know, he has sued the city of Atlanta, aka Keisha, because she wants to mandate the wearing of masks in the city where there's this huge explosion of COVID. So he, as the governor, says that you cannot do that at the city level. She, in fact, quoted quite a few cities in Georgia that had already made these mandates, Savannah, Georgia being one of them. And what he said was, well, what she said was, if these cities have already had this in place, why are you now suing Atlanta, Georgia, for doing this? For asking folks to mandatorily wear masks and to be able to enforce it. So he
I,
big mad.
I don't get it. I don't understand.
It's more to the story. I don't know what the more is, but it's number one. She a black woman. Let's start there,
Right,
right? This goes back
right.
to your point earlier about Megan Thee Stallion. Us not protecting our black women. Number two,
Mm.
there's got to be some history, right? I mean, Kemp, he might feel intimidated. I don't know what the situation is, but all I know is,
Which
um,
happens.
which does happen, right? And
We can
there's the
talk
whole
about stop being intimidated by strong black women.
strong black anything, right?
That's true.
Absolutely.
That's true.
Because you know you get it at work. I know I get it at work, and I know our black women get it for sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
This fear that if black people are powerful, then that somehow disempowers me, right? So again, back to white fragility, but later for that. Your boy Brian, he was like, okay, well, no, you can't mandate masks. Keisha was like, we are going to mandate masks because we want to be safe. Boom, he's going to sue her. So now we got to figure out what to do. And she made a good point about, well, that might be a really bad use of taxpayers' money. Um,
Would be, yeah. Well, he probably, when I hear the word suing, I think of a Cheeto that has a really high office position, right? I mean, probably pulling those from.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
some
And I
folks
don't
have
want
their
to.
voice.
Exactly. I don't want to jump too far. I just want to say this because this was pissing me off when I was walking around early this morning about the whole Lady Antebellum, where the group Lady Antebellum was trying to change their name, decided they were going to change it to Lady A in support of Black Lives Matter. But as they did that and got rid of the Antebellum, there's a black woman who's had the name at Lady A for a very long time, and Lady A. Tabellum is now trying to sue this Lady A, the black lady who was in blues, I think, either blues, jazz, one of these, one of our genres. Let's put it that way. And they're trying to sue her for the name. But this is how they support Black Lives Matter.
All right. I just Googled Lady A. She pops up first.
Ah,
Looks like she's
interesting.
been here.
She been here.
She been here. She looks
She been
older
here.
too. She
She
don't look
older.
like she's 62 years of age.
She ain't hurt nobody.
No. Oh, I'm
Ain't
sorry.
hurting.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Wait a minute. Oh no, that's Lady Antebellum. Oh, they've already given Lady A the Wikipedia
Mm.
clicks. Interesting.
Mm.
Well, I'll be. She's used it since 1987.
I
Give
was a
that
small
lady
child.
her name.
Leave that lady alone.
She has used it for 33 years.
Leave that lady alone.
Leave her alone
Leave.
and stop making Black Lives Matter trendy. Like this is
Thank you.
not a trend. If you really say Black Lives Matter, it talks about like why abbreviate with the A? Become something completely different.
Thank
Because
you.
A is short for antebellum, and if what that's like that's like taking the Confederate flag and putting it in the top left corner of the state flag and being like, well, it ain't big, man. You
It
can do a
ain't
little
big.
man.
That's a good point.
Like
That's a good
what?
point.
What are you?
That's a
Nah,
good
shake that.
point. That's a good
Nah.
point.
Take all that. Change your whole name. Put a whole different alphabet. No,
There you
lady.
go.
Be Lady B. I don't know.
Lady, I was thinking Lady B L M.
Ooh.
You're welcome.
I like it. I like it. Make sure they give you 15%, brother.
I need my coins.
Yeah. I got a question. I know we this is not in our show notes, but kind
What's
of
up?
this out of the blue. Man, what you
Right.
been listening to, man? What's in your iPod right now, or your
Man.
iPhone, because everything is connected.
Man, I'm ashamed of some of the stuff I'm listening to because
Don't be
I'm
ashamed.
listening.
Don't be
Okay, I ain't
ashamed.
gonna be ashamed then. Okay, so I'm
Right.
right now. I happen not to be listening to Lady Antebellum. That's not what I'm
Really?
listening to. Nope, I just happen. That's just I'm skipping that currently. I'll give it some time to settle down. But what I'm bumping right now, man, is T Grizzly's last album is going hard right now. I mean, the intro. I can't stop spinning the intro when I'm in the gym. I mean, that is a problem.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
I was bumping XXX's last album. I like that one. That was pretty good. That's kind of smooth to go.
Okay.
Um, and
Rest in peace to Lady
rest in
XX.
peace. Definitely appreciate that. Lil Wayne put out a little like workout mixtape, little small EP. Got a couple tracks on, about 5-6 tracks. That's pretty good.
Lil Wayne put out a workout mixtape.
It's like 5 tracks. I think one of them we've heard before, but like the other four, then you got like a track with like Doja Cat and stuff like that. It's just a little something you can do together. It's cool. It's real low key. Um,
I didn't know about that.
and and let me think. Oh, is it Tiana Taylor? I think she just put out a project that was pretty good.
She did. She did.
hmm
Very, very good.
And actually, my homeboy just put me on the Colors performance from Leanne LaHavis. Love Leanne LaHavis. She's a great R&B musician. I love her music. She's great acoustic. I mean, just really, really special. Um, and I think that's kind of where I am right now. A little bit of Leanne, a little bit of rap, and of
Okay.
course Rod Wave's last album. I'm on that pretty hard. That's pretty cold too. I
Okay.
like that a lot. Yeah. What you
Yeah.
listen
Yeah.
to?
Man, I've so this week has been a little different, man. I've been really in like the modern R&B bag. I don't even
Mm.
like I've been, I picked up my saxophone last weekend and started playing
Yeah.
again. And I think it might have been inspired from Masego, very talented saxophonist,
Yeah.
performer. Uh, Featured on a lot of really good songs like Ari Lennox. He got some songs with FKJ.
Okay.
But man, dude is just super talented,
Mm.
and I went down the rabbit hole from listening to some of him to listening to Sir and some
Okay.
Sir early EPs. Bro,
Okay.
it's just been listen to Ari Lennox, but
Of course.
really in the mellow bag, really
Mm.
appreciating and Division,
Mm.
OVO Sounds
Oh
Division,
yeah. Oh yeah.
bro. Bro, they've been killing. So I just been very excited to know that for a moment we had talked about neo soul R&B not necessarily
Yeah.
being the wave right now. We're
Right.
seeing a huge resurgence of that talent, and I just think that right now in this bubble, I'm getting to explore so many different sounds of quality music that just sounds good in the house. I'm in the
Cool.
house. I need the vibrations to be in the house. Now next week, actually today, when I get back to closing my rings on my
Okay.
watch
I'll
in,
be
in
looking
this
for you.
gym, I'm definitely gonna throw in that T Grizzly and
Go for it.
Ace Hood. Ace Hood is my
Album's
goal.
hard. That album hard. The new one hard,
Bruh,
boy.
Mr. Hood,
Mm-hmm.
congratulations to him. Just got married to Sheila.
Yeah.
Um,
Dope,
and
dope, dope.
bro, so yeah, the Ace Hood been
Mm-hmm.
heavy rotation for me, man.
Oh
His
yeah.
old stuff, Trust the Process 1 and 2, bro.
Oh yeah.
The,
Two
like the
undefeated.
whole the mindset, just to be able to go, but get some of that positive hip hop into you. So if y'all looking for somebody that gives you that positivity, not necessarily like bang bang shoot 'em up all the time.
Right.
Ace Hood is a good guy for that.
Facts.
And I think
Facts.
with every album, he's getting more and more intentional of the healthy mind state,
Mm-hmm.
but also execution of like that you need that internal voice to be like, go get it, you can do it,
That's true.
motivate. Like,
That's
so I
true.
appreciate it.
That's
That's
true.
my rotations, man.
Yeah, man. For those who need the bang bang shoot 'em up, I'm saying stick with T Grizzly because he definitely. I was telling my girl, I was like, man, like I feel bad because these ain't the most positive experiences, but I resonate with some of this stuff, man, and it helps me push.
Yeah, yeah. You push your
Some of
weight
this
off
stuff,
your chest. I need somebody to come in like,
man. I need you to shoot me up out of here.
yes. Now, any Lil Wayne mixtape, boy,
Mm,
you talk. Don't let me get on. Don't
man,
cardio with
dedication,
Wayne. Huh, huh. All right. So we might
problem.
have to start a music podcast too. But
That'd be
man,
dope.
before we wrap this thing up, I think we've definitely done our full over an hour session. So we're gonna break this up into 2 parts
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
IG. But anything else before we start to head up out of here, man? Enjoy our Saturday with our special folks.
No, man, I just want folks to know they can find us on IG. They can find us on Facebook. They can find us on YouTube. They can find
Yes.
us on Spotify. They can find us
Mm-hmm.
on Apple Podcasts. At what?
Mm-hmm.
Where they find us at? That's
Quarantine Snacks Podcast.
all
That's
the above.
yep.
Quarantine Snacks Podcast. On Twitter, you can find us at
The QSP.
Dope. So, Jaron, tell us why it's important that folks visit the podcast and they give us some likes and some subscribes.
Bro,
Why does that matter?
it's so important for y'all to like and subscribe because the more you do that and provide that to those services, it makes our content more searchable, and also gets us to pages where people who are looking for this type of content, they're able to find us. So right
Yeah.
now it's like we're in competition with those who have millions of followers and subscribers just to
Mm.
get our face, just get our icon listed as one of the topics or one of the content creators you need to listen to.
Yeah.
So it might seem like we're bugging you about the likes and subscriptions, but if you're enjoying the content, it doesn't hurt you, but it really helps us to give you more content and for us to grow our following so we can continue to do things like get a new mic, get better webcams,
Yeah.
maybe video production. We're doing all of this in house. So,
Thanks.
that's what we're doing. And so please like and subscribe and share. We don't want it to just be us. We know there's some stuff in here that people can build and grow from.
That's
So we hope,
true.
if you got anything from this, share with somebody who might enjoy it as well. So we
Facts,
appreciate you.
man. Last thing I add to that is that I have been having, I meant to tell you this the other day, I've gotten some of the best feedback about our show, man. I mean, I've gotten folks saying that they really enjoy what we're doing, that it's really been pushing them and making them think differently. I've got some friends who are trying to connect us with some brand managers and stuff like that because they really want to see us grow. Um, I've got some folks like Jason Dempsey and Jack Dempsey, man. He's putting those beats. I don't know you've seen what I was sending to you. So, like, man, straight heat, but he's really enjoying the content. I
I
mean,
want to work out to
everybody,
his beats, man.
man. I mean, tell me about it. And I don't know if you know, but the 112 track he did, Slim came back and commented on the photo. He
Oh,
tagged Slim, I tagged Slim, Slim commented. So,
that's fire.
like,
That's fire.
crazy. So, big ups to Jack Dempsey, man. But yeah, man, like I've been getting a lot of feedback from folks, and what I just tell folks is like, thank you for sharing that with me. Go back to the post and share it there for us. Let us know what you're thinking in some comments somewhere. If it's IG, if it's YouTube, what have you, share that stuff so that the world can see it, and so that we can have that feedback to provide as we're trying to grow on what we're doing here. So, so yeah, man, we're getting great feedback. People are loving what we're doing. They love who we are. It seems like some folks are really enjoying two doctors talking about different experiences in life or their experiences in their own life, kind of managing kind of society and also managing how to become a professional and what we do with our names and with our platforms as we've been giving them, kind of stewarding that stuff in a responsible way.
I love it, man. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate our brotherhood, our friendship. This is the highlight of my Saturdays now. We kind of switched what days we did it. We should do it on Fridays at the end of the
Yeah,
week.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
we
yeah.
want to make sure we use that time to kind of continue to pour back in our cup. And Saturday, there's no better way for me to be able to start my weekend off right and feel like
Yeah,
our check-in. So you're witnessing our personal check-ins. We used to have these conversations naturally just on the phone, just the two of us.
yeah,
So we're trying to get that to the world as authentic as possible for us to still maintain our jobs.
yeah, bro. Man, I appreciate you as well, man. This is
Yes, sir.
um, I really enjoyed our work today, man. I'm hopeful that folks who went to HBCUs will say something in the comments. Shout out your HBCU if you went or the one you wanted to go to.
Yep.
We'd be happy to hear that stuff, man.
Share it with people who are thinking about going to college right now. And listen,
Mm,
we're a resource. We can send us questions if there are things that people may have. We might build this out where we talk more about the experience for those who are thinking or considering going to HBCUs. We also know a lot of folks who graduated from so specifically majors. Let us know. We might be able to connect them with someone for mentors.
oh yeah,
Uh, and I'm be on the lookout too, man. I'm starting to create some Live Mighty content for student success. That's coming too, bro. So
oh,
looking
oh,
forward to it, brother. All right,
oh,
man.
brother.
All right.
All right, man. Well, I'll see you next time. I'll probably talk to you before then.
All right. Sounds good, man. And thank you
All
all
right,
for
bro.
listening. All right.
Thank
Keep
you.
snacking.
Keep snacking. Peace.
Peace.